Okay, today we are taking a look at the fallout of renegade Congresswoman Nancy Pelosi visiting Taiwan. Let's just see what the fuck happens. We're sort of looking at this from the perspective of China, and then I'm just going to look, more overall. The ripple effect or the waves that are coming off of this. The word circumvent number 6, that was our random word and number as I was shuffling a little bit earlier. And let's see what we got. Root card, 5 of Pentacles. Okay, so here we have someone being excluded. The 5 of Pentacles is about being judged, feeling very exiled, and sort of being without money. So let's just see what we got going on here. 4 of Wands. All right. 4 of Wands over the top of a 5 of Pentacles. Let's take a look around the 4 just to see what we're looking at here. I'm going to look at who the two energies are that are making the commitment. 4 of Wands, this is a shared commitment. 2 people making a commitment together. Now let's see what those energies are. Receptive. Fascinating. Okay. So on one side we have the Strength card. And on the other side, the 8 of Swords is like being trapped, being full of anxiety. The moon is fucking with their head. And now specifically here, I was kind of looking at this as kind of a masculine and feminine energy, right? So on this side, we're looking at the masculine, quote unquote, energy, and over here, this is the projecting and receiving, we'll say. The projecting energy shows in the Strength card. The receiving energy shows in the fucking 8 of Swords, which we do have sort of a feminine energy in here, being trapped and fucked with. Now, this is probably the same figure here. So, at the root, there is one being exiled. And that is the same one that is making a commitment here. But it looks like one of these two energies doesn't have any kind of real choice in the matter. It's not like they're free to do whatever they want. They're kind of forced to make this commitment. Now, keeping in mind that I'm looking at this from China, so I'm guessing the Strength here is probably the Chinese government, and then this other thing that they are making a pact with doesn't have much of a choice. Actually, I want to look at this because there's another way to view this. This could be a fucking agreement between the United States government and the Chinese government. You know, one of them kind of having their back against the wall, and they're like, whatever, okay, so this is going to happen. Let's take a look over here and try to get some idea of what the energy is that has the power. And we get the Queen of Wands. Huh. I wouldn't really say that lines up with what I would figure for the Chinese government or the United States government or the Taiwanese government, If anything, the Queen of Wands in this equation, because the Queen of Wands is like the desirable woman, right? Very creative, beautiful, all of that. That's the fucking microchips, If Taiwan weren't producing basically all of the world's microchips, they wouldn't be so desirable, you know? I guarantee Nancy Pelosi wouldn't give a shit about Taiwan if they didn't produce all of the microchips. And, I'm pretty sure she doesn't give a shit about Taiwan anyway, but she does care about money and power. And the last reading implied that her back was up against the wall also. Like, she wasn't making this trip out of her own choice, she was being forced into doing it. And maybe that's what we have going on here. Like, here is this. In fact, I think the strength card actually showed up for what was forcing her to do it. Wow. Okay. Then you go back. Now, the strength card could be the fucking Chinese government. And on the other side, it could be Nancy Pelosi. It could be the Chinese government that is forcing her to do this. And the ultimate outcome, I just want to look at that real quick because I have a feeling that the ultimate outcome of all of this is war, but let's just see what the outcome is. So we get justice. Justice doesn't necessarily mean war, but it is fairness and it is like an equal sort of treatment, seeing something for truth and acting accordingly. This is pretty confusing. All right, we're going to do this. I'm taking all these back. And I'm going to ask more pointed questions to see if we can get something more solid. And the first question that I'm going to ask is how big of a response is the Chinese government going to have over this thing that they say enrages them, So let's see. How big of a response? Four of Swords. The Four of Swords, this would pretty much show doing nothing. The Four of Swords is about separation. Now, it's separation to recuperate, Here the person has had so much shit pulling at their head that they had to bury themselves underground to create some sort of mental separation. And this would be like kind of a withdrawal. But is this a regeneration so they have full power when they do the thing? And then we get a King of Swords. So I would kind of feel like that is the case. So this would be more of like a power up, like taking a time out so you can make sure that you have your shit together before here the King of Swords, that is the military commander, right? And this would also be a strategy. So again, that this might not specifically be about war, even though the King of Swords is very prepared to go to war, but this would be a strategy. So I wouldn't expect to see any immediate impact or ramifications. I wouldn't expect to see an immediate response from the Chinese government. They would kind of like lay back for a while and then make everyone think that nothing was going to happen. In this case, part of their strategy from what this looks like. Now, I want to look at the nature of the relationship between Nancy Pelosi and Taiwan, and also the relationship between Nancy Pelosi and China. We're going to start with Taiwan, okay? Reversed temperance, so this is understanding, wisdom, patience, all of that. When the temperance card is reversed, there is no patience, there is no wisdom, there is no understanding. This would be really taking your time and making a wise decision, and the reverse temperance card is when that is not possible. So Again, this does kind of go into her being forced into doing this thing with Taiwan. Okay, what is the nature of Nancy Pelosi's relationship with China, with the Chinese government? And we get the world. Okay. Well, what the hell are we looking at here? It is interesting that these are both major arcana cards, so it's the nature of the relationship is big in both cases. So the world is the last card of tarot, and it is showing a completion, an ending of a chapter. Um, as far as how this would go, I mean, her relationship with China would be coming to an end. Um, the way that this makes sense to me is if there was something that she was supposed to do and she did it. So then the relationship comes to an end. And I feel like it's like a fucking hitman. You know, it's like the hitman owes the family this one favor and then they do it. Uh, but the world, whatever is going on, it's going to cause a pretty fundamental shift in the way things are and the way things that they will be. The world is like the ending of a chapter and a graduation into something completely different. Fucking weird. Now, even with this is pretty murky. This whole thing is pretty murky. It's kind of smoke screenish. Um, I'm going to try to look directly. Is China going to attack Taiwan? And we get a Page of Swords. Now, the Page is not a card of commitment, although it is of the Swords family. So this would be like, if it's an attack, it would be just a tiny little thing, not a long, campaign or anything, but it would be a tiny little thing. And this is probably violating the airspace, or running drills right off their coast and that sort of thing. And I think they've been doing that anyway. But if that's the case, I would expect that to continue. But that's not really a card of an attack. This would be more of a card of an attack. And this did show up earlier looking at their tactics, but I would not expect the Chinese to attack either Taiwan or the United States anytime soon. And I think it's part of their strategy. So, what ultimately comes out of this whole fucking situation? The Two of Wands, this is creative solutions to old problems. This is kind of using two different things that you have together. Creativity. This doesn't look bad, but I guess it sort of depends, I honestly think that this is all kind of being tied up with the World Economic Forum stuff, and it's all part of the same plan. Um, let's actually just see if that's true. And we get the Ace of Swords, and that is also kind of hard to read. Although it would be a yes, as a yes or no question. Is this connected to the World Economic Forum stuff? The Ace of Swords would say yes. Very murky. So that is where I'm going to leave it for now. We're going to keep looking at this topic because it's very fucking smoky right here. And I don't have any idea what the hell is actually going on. So we'll keep looking at this. If you have ideas of a specific angle to look at it from, or a very specific question, Let me know. Also, if you see, some shit in the cards that I'm not seeing, feel free to let me know that as well. That is what we have for now, and peace.